Hello and welcome back to the 1.2 podcast. How are you doing, Jack?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So this week we saw yet another devastating injury in the NFL. Tua Tagovailoa had
Ooh, say
his.
that again.
Oh yeah, no, you get one. You get one. I used up all my Tua last name ability with
There you
with
go.
that one. So uh, that was his third NFL, correct? Third NFL
Yep.
concussion, and you said fourth in 5 years.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So obviously that is, puts his future in question, right? To a large extent. And mental injuries are becoming much more known, understood, things like that. We didn't always understand the consequences of concussions, or if we did, we sort of brushed it aside. But all manners of injuries, right, occur in sports, um, and at its most basic level, right. Some of our sports are the intent is to injure another person. We've got boxing, we've got MMA, we've got hockey where it's still widely accepted to do things that in society, on the street, in the bar, at home, whatever, is illegal, right? We,
Right.
we have we have carved out this exception for our entertainment where we allow people to do things to injure each other, to jeopardize their lives that we wouldn't otherwise do. So why is that okay?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. Entertainment, right? I mean, it it makes money for people, and it provides the general public with entertainment.
So what if you and I next week on the podcast we decided that we were going to show up in our backyards and we're going to fight and we're going to put it on YouTube for fun,
I think
right?
our one follower would be very entertained.
Yeah, but someone, let's say someone calls the cops, then
Yeah.
right, they show up. Yep, disorderly conduct. You can't fight, right? But we're entertaining. Why is it okay for some people to fight for money, but not other people?
I mean, I think they're. I know you're smiling, but I think there is an inherent kind of more structure to the types of sports and events that you're talking about than just two guys in the backyard messing around. So, I mean, there is some structure to it, and as much as I do that it brings me back to torts class with I don't remember. I think it was an NFL game. There's an NFL case where basically like a Mason
There's a
Rudolph,
right, a fight
Miles
broke
Garrett,
out.
yeah,
Yeah,
type
yeah.
issue, and it's okay. We have the rules and the confines of a game and a sport where it's violent, it's inherently violent, and all of those things that you mentioned are right.
Hmm.
Boxing, NFL, NHL, violent sports, but then once
Right.
you cross there's an imaginary line that nobody knows where it is, but you feel like you do know when you see it, right? It's one of those gut things, and so when you cross that line, you extend beyond the confines and the structure of the sport or the game into this normal world where you can't do those sorts of things. So I think, I mean, if you're looking for a difference, I think there is a more structure. You know, most people that are casual fans of a sport could probably tell us when what's okay and what's not okay. Um, but you're right. I mean, it's why is that okay in one instance and not in others?
Right, right, and the argument is that, well, with let's take the NFL again, for example, we have rules, right? You're only allowed to tackle someone a certain way. You're not allowed to hit them, directly in the head. You're not allowed to do this and that, et cetera, et cetera. Um, And the assumption then is that minimizes injuries. Is that the case? I mean, I think it's one of the ultimate ironies that the individual who, quote unquote, gave Tua the concussion, although Tua, ran into him pretty much on his own, was a guy who last year died on the field essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Damar Hamlin, he went into cardiac arrest because of a routine hit to his chest.
Right.
Right. Um, and for him now to be the one involved in a potentially career-ending injury to someone else, I mean, I think that speaks for itself, doesn't it? Yes, we've got rules, but that's like, uh, I mean, how do you make boxing safer? How do you make football safer but still football? And I'm not criticizing these things. I'm not, I want to make my position clear. I'm just as entertained by these sports as you are. I enjoy watching football. I enjoy watching these contact sports. I enjoyed wrestling. I enjoyed doing these, martial arts. I was martial arts for years. Um, yeah, you get to put pads on, but you still punch each other in the head, kick each other in the chest. Um, so, I enjoy these things, but I'm trying to understand why we allow it when, we put safety gloves on so many other things in life.
Well, I say this half joking, but half serious. I mean, do we really care about making football safer? I mean,
As a fan, not particularly.
like it sounds callous, but it's not affecting my life if Tua has another concussion again. Like it's a horrible, horrible, horrible
Well,
injury
well,
and those sorts
and
of things. But I mean, it's the sport that there's inherent risk. You know what you're getting into. I know what I'm watching as a viewer. I don't
mhm.
I don't necessarily think people really care that much
Yep,
if it's
yep,
safer or not. Obviously the people doing it and the people closely connected to the people probably care.
yeah, right,
But
right,
again, I sound callous saying that, but I don't think people really actually care about it being safer. And
right,
you hear the complaints about, oh, this isn't football like it used to be. Like,
right,
well, that's because they've established a lot of rules to make it safer. Uh, and I think you're seeing in those responses why and how people don't care.
right, right. And it's not like we don't have other dangerous jobs in America,
Right.
right? We had a show, very popular show, literally called Deadliest Catch, right? The crab fishermen and guys go overboard, and they got, you know the fatalities in that job line. Coal miners, right? Guys going underground and subjecting themselves to uh, all the risks down in the mine, whether it's a collapse or equipment failure, being crushed by something, or the toxic fumes, or whatever it is, or the long term effects on your lungs. Um, so we certainly, as society, are okay with dangerous professions,
Yeah,
right?
and I think the other callous point I'll make is that
You're full of them today.
I mean, you're look at the compensation that these people are getting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's
Yep.
again, would I ever want to live personally with or live with anyone that's going to have CTE by the time they're 40? Absolutely not. And would I take $225 million in exchange for dying when I'm 50? Absolutely not. But because that's not the most important thing to me. But you look at the generational wealth that these players are walking away with. I think a lot of them would make that. I think there are a lot of people that would make that trade, that would
Sure.
say, look, if I only live to 50, at least I'm giving my family this. Uh,
Right.
and
Right.
so I don't think it's, a lot of people is like, oh, this is so unfair. These people are putting their lives on the. First of all, get off your high horse. Like you said, we've got plenty of, I'll say average, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but average folks doing things that are a lot more dangerous than voluntarily bashing your head around.
Right.
And they're not getting paid anywhere near what you are. I mean, they're
Right.
doing that to put a meal on the table for their family. And
Right.
so, again, not trying to minimize head injuries at all, something I would never want to deal with. And there's, among many other reasons why I won't deal with it. But it's, I think people got to take a step back and make that evaluation for themselves.
Right. Right. Yeah, I'm looking up right now what are the most dangerous jobs in America. The list of America's deadliest jobs, and this is just a 2024 poll on CBS News. But farming, forestry, fishing, and hunting top the list of America's deadliest jobs, and they certainly don't get paid the way NFL players get paid.
No.
So, what? Where is that line in terms of what are you willing to do, to set your family up, right?
Yeah.
Why can't I sell one of my kidneys? I think the going rate's like 500,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's more than most people make in a long time. So why can't I sell one of my kidneys? I understand the risks. It would set my family up, and it would save another life, right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm pretty sure there's laws against that.
Well, and that's the point, right? Is that we live within the confines and the structure of a civilized society,
but do we?
Well,
because we let people get concussions, right? For much more.
Well, you giving someone a kidney isn't entertaining to me.
Well, it's entertaining to that person.
I can't make any money off of you giving someone a kidney. I can't market you giving someone a kidney.
We could if we make a documentary out of it.
I can't get ad revenue for you giving someone a kidney.
Live stream it.
Follow the money.
Let's get some cameras in the operating room, right?
You tell me who wants to watch that.
More people than are currently watching us, right?
Wow.
Gotta have a little bit of self-deprecation.
To make his point, he falls on the sword.
It's the honorable thing to do, Jack. No, so okay then. So what we're saying then is it's okay to fight if we can monetize it.
Yep.
It's okay. And that is not the morality, not the informed consent. That's not why we let it happen in our society. We let it happen in our society because it makes people money. Is that what you're saying?
I think yes. At its core, yes, that is why.
And we as people are not outraged over that industry and that profit because we're entertained by it.
Correct.
So it's legal because it brings money to people who have influence, and we don't protest it because we're entertained by it.
Right. It's legal because we've made it legal for all of those reasons.
There we go. All right. Well, I guess.
Am I wrong?
I don't think so. Why is anything legal or anything illegal, right? Because a group of people have gotten together and said, we're okay with this or we're not okay with this. And those people, I don't think it's a secret, are largely influenced by, I would say two things. The first is private opinion, right? Money, private donations, and then somewhat by public opinion, right? So we've got maybe a smaller group of people who are making a lot of money and who have more influence over this sort of thing. I can remember in a tax class I was taking once when there was a specific write-off for horse training. Why would there be a specific write-off for horse training? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get money for training my dog. I can't write that off as an expense, even if I had a dog. But why for horse racing? Right? Because there's a certain group of people, who are involved in that industry, who had, presented a compelling argument, mostly compelling by the number of zeros after the first number in the check. And so Congress passes a law in our tax code that profits them. So in the same way, we have a small group of people who make a lot of money off of this, off the NFL, off of boxing, off of all these different sports, these contact sports. And so as long as they can keep public opinion, you and I, the common folk, as long as they can keep us entertained by it, and we don't really care then too much, then they will keep it legal. I think you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah, and they've got to get it. They have the token health concerns, and we addressed this a little bit last week with the field issues, but
Right.
they have to keep giving a little bit to the people that are eventually going to be doing this sport, to show them that yes, we really do care about you, when they don't, because of those other things. So because you've got young children, a boy. You gonna let him play football?
Nope.
Yeah.
I mean, it never was. I don't think anything has changed to influence that.
Right.
Yep. What about you?
No. To me, the risk doesn't outweigh the reward.
Right.
And I think I already explained why I wouldn't want to be in that position or have anyone close to me in that position. You hear these stories with Tua on, I think it was Dante Hittner. No, that's what they called him. I think his last name is Whitner. He was a safety, retired a couple years ago. He was saying that his last concussion that he got, for 3 weeks afterward, 2 or 3 weeks afterwards, his whole peripheral vision was gone. And
wow,
he still has light sensitivity problem. I mean, who in their right mind would subject themselves to that for the rest of their life?
Well, I guess it's a calculated risk, right?
Well, right. And that's I guess the point I'm making is that I am not the chances of my wife and myself producing a top NFL talent that's going to be able to make the type of money that may justify doing that.
Right.
Zero, less than 0% chance. So why even try?
I'm going to tell him you said that.
Go ahead.
You have a negative chance
of making it to the NFL. Yes.
Yeah.
I will tell.
That's how little your parents believed in you.
I will say, just look in the mirror, son. Look at your father.
I was just gonna say, look at your genes. Sorry, bud.
It's just the reality. I mean,
that's fair.
So that's fair. To not even again, I don't think it's worth it even for the 220 million plus deals. But that's the only point I think that you can even start having that conversation. Right. Okay, am I willing to use your words, fall on the sword? Basically sacrificing my life for the future, and maybe there's some honor in that. But
well, there's risk in everything, right? I mean, literally anything we do on any given day, right? I mean, What is something that you do every single day?
Yeah, I run.
You run. You may get hit by a car. You may
Yep.
get, there's something that could happen. So I mean, we make, I drive like 20 miles to work each day. Could get hit, could get in an accident.
Hmm.
We all make decisions,
Right.
calculated risks. Um, you know, and the question then is, are those risks worth it? And so, I mean, that's what we do with every decision. That's what a rational person is supposed to do with any decision. Is
Hmm.
the risk worth it? Um, and for the most part, we say yes to most things. We're not going to live in a bubble our lives.
Right.
Um, and you see stories of people who die young for
Hmm.
you know, no apparent reason. No, they didn't put themselves in harm's way. Um, but we can certainly try to control some of those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Of course, I'm not suggesting to be raised in a bubble, and obviously, there's inherent risk in almost every decision we make.
right.
And I'm always, I my dad talks about it with his running streak on, there's certain things that he won't do, and then he decided, you know what, why is this dictating the way I live my life, right?
Right. Right.
It's a silly streak in at its core, and so, if I want to go water skiing, I should be able to go water skiing. But to me, every decision I make, for the most part, is with a clear focus on something that's going to benefit myself or my family from that
Right.
decision. I go running every day. Yeah, that's kind of silly. There's probably more risk than reward, um, especially with today's day and age of drivers. But there's at least some health benefits to that.
Right.
Um,
Right.
you drive to work, and there's inherent risk in that, like you say. But you have to provide for your family, right?
Right.
And so to me, there's more thought behind that and more reason behind that than I want to play this game.
Right.
But
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. But according to the ratings this year, the viewership for the NFL was up 12%. So apparently, we don't care if other people take those risks for
and
our
that's
entertainment.
I mean, that was what I'm trying to say. I don't think we really care.
Yep.
I
Yep.
mean, yeah, we're gonna have a week-long discussion about Tua and how he should retire and how this is so bad for his brain and what is the NFL doing to help with concussions. But guess who's gonna watch the NFL tomorrow?
That's right.
Every single person.
That's right.
Guess who's gonna complain when their favorite quarterback doesn't dive for a fourth down?
Yep. Yep.
Me and my friends.
Yep. That's
And then when they get hurt, why didn't he slide and protect himself? I mean, it's we've created such a double standard that
right. Right.
I think
Well,
it's going to be really hard to break.
that's been the case throughout all of recorded history, right? The Romans figured out you give the people violence and some food, and they'll be happy,
Hmm.
right? So we've got our modern day gladiator games now in the NFL, and across all sorts of sports. So I guess as long as people keep tuning in, they'll just keep on doing it.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, based on that, do you have any predictions for the upcoming games?
So we're in what, week 2, I guess?
Two. Yeah,
It's
officially.
hard. It's like with that Thursday game, and then it feels like it's week 3 already, but I guess it's only week 2. This is horrible. I should not even say this out loud, but I think one of Dak Prescott or Trevor Lawrence is going down with either this weekend or next weekend. because we've had the big money quarterbacks that got paid. Uh, Jordan Love, Tua, Tagovailoa.
There you go. Good job.
Um,
So it's the
I
curse,
why
the curse of the
curse of the
paycheck.
big contract.
Yep,
Yeah.
the
Why
curse
would
of the
I?
contract.
It's just bad. I don't know. Like, I'm obviously not wanting to manifest that into existence.
So Aaron Rodgers would be really disappointed with you right now.
Right. Yeah. That's, I don't really care. Um, but
Maybe he's our follower. Maybe he's the
yeah.
one.
And I'm not doing it, for like, obviously, because we have 0 followers. I'm not doing it for some like hot take that I could be like, oh, see, I told you. We're just having a conversation, right? And I just
right.
think I just think that's going to happen,
That's
and I hope it doesn't.
right.
I hope I'm wrong,
Right.
but it just feels like one of those weird thing. It's like the Madden curse, like the cover curse.
And that's what's intriguing about sport, right? That's what keeps us tuning in, because there are things like that, the Madden curse, or we say things happen in threes, right? And so
Yep.
you've got, like you said, you've got two of the new contract quarterbacks going down with injury. We're at this point expecting a third, right? There's these trends, there's these coincidences in a world with so many things that happen on a day-to-day basis. We get these coincidences, but it just seems like there's no way this is a coincidence. This had to be a because of the contract, or because of this or that, or whatever it is. So I'll be watching right there with you, because it is intriguing, and at the end of the day, it's entertainment.
I also think Jordan Love's going to play this weekend, and I do hope that happens.
There we go. There we go. All right, we'll end on a positive note then. Until next time, stay entertained.